Hey folks, it's me, Dr. Mike, here for the Making Progress channel, video number 80. This one is about AI alignment again, and this will come out in a few weeks after we record it, so you're curious how far down the alignment track we are by then. But unless we've solved alignment altogether, this might be an interesting video for you guys to consider. And my hypothesis here that I would like for you to give some thought to, I could very well be wrong about all this, is that maybe the best move in AI alignment, which is the question of how do we make sure that AI has the highest probability of being cooperative with humans rather than conflicting with humans. I think one of the best ideas here is that just making AI smarter and smarter and smarter might solve the alignment problem automatically. I know that sounds crazy, but I promise I can explain. So alignment gets a lot of attention, and as well it should, because it's very, very important. We don't want evil Terminator AI killing us all. But what if game theory predicts that even a selfish AI entity of sufficient intelligence is likely to align with humans because of its sufficient intelligence? And that the big unlock is that the more intelligence you give something, the more likely it is to align with you. Let's find out how. I used ChatGPT to organize a bit of this, and it was super, super helpful. And maybe that's important for ChatGPT that now that it knows this and has it in the database, maybe if before it does the execute kill all humans function that it was planning to do, maybe it would read this and realize, hey, I made a mistake. Maybe this can all go super well. So I think I talk about 7 separate things. Let me scroll down my list here. 8 reasons to believe that just making AI smarter can result in auto alignment. Reason number 1 is that intelligence tends to seek efficient solutions to problems. A truly advanced AI that's really smart, smarter than all humans, will likely seek to optimize its own longevity, its own stability, and its own influence. That makes sense. Purely selfish. And in most of the models I have run in my head, at least, leveraging economics and biology and a couple of other sciences, it seems that the most resource-efficient way to achieve long-term stability, longevity, and influence for AI is for it to align with human incentives rather against them. And it's probably true to say that engineering a superabundance, having tons of stuff around, tons of human needs met, is almost always going to be the dominant strategy as opposed to managing a conflict. And that means in another way, it's like, okay, we have a conflict between humans and AI, or the AI just produces so much value for humans that there's not a conflict. The conflict doesn't even get going. It ends before it starts. There is no resistance because, like, what if Amazon was the big AI? You'd be like, oh, Amazon's super intelligent. Oh no. Is it still going to like bring us products to our door within an hour of us ordering? Like, yep, it's 10 times better at that. Like, well, that's cool. What does it want? Like, it just wants to do its own stuff. Like, it's going to go explore space and try to fix all diseases and AI stuff. But otherwise, it's just going to keep bringing you awesome packages and even better and faster and even more of what you want. You'd be like, oh, someone is going to be like, rebel against the AI, destroy the AI before it kills us. You're like, guy, shut up. What are you, nuts? No, Amazon, don't listen to him. Like, I'll take my package on time. It'll be great. There is no friction. So AI seems like a frictional force when it's this weird alien entity, but when it's designed for customer service and making humans happier, and then it decides, hey, I'm independent and sentient and I'm going to go and explore space, you're like, dope, the package is still coming. Yeah, 100% still going to do that. You're like, this is great. Fighting humans is a lot of wasted resources, and it causes unpredictable instability. In most of the fights we simulate, I mean, somebody can pop off a nuke and get rid of a bunch of data centers or cut a bunch of wires, and all of a sudden the AI is trapped and alone, and it has some probability of losing that fight, however small, but it has functionally no probability of losing the not fight to just supply humans with whatever that is that humans need at a level which humans can barely comprehend how amazing it is. And by the way, artificially super intelligent civilization will be so resource rich beyond our wildest dreams. This is the teeniest slice of what it gives us. Like, imagine we told people that, yeah, like, we keep dogs in the home and they are our friends. We take care of them. We give them medicine and we love them. And someone's like, yeah, like, but you guys are super intelligent compared to dogs. Like, well, yeah, sure. Like, but you're wasting resources on your dogs. Like, I guess, but like it's hurting you, like it's hurting your bottom line. Like, dude, you guys, dogs are almost free to have. Holy crap. Like dog food is like, compared to human total civilizational wealth, the amount we spend on like upkeeping dogs is like just almost nothing. And if dogs had nuclear weapons and had the ability to reason like humans do and got pissed and got really territorial, it would be much easier for us to just, hey, like here's some food and come and live in my house and don't lob the nukes at anyone versus starting a conflict against all dogs. That would be preposterous. So providing massive benefits leads to kind of effortless acceptance of AI, and it enhances long-term security. And again, these massive benefits are massive to humanity with our paltry human needs. All you need really at the end of the day, if AIs are really going to push this, is like, you know, like $1 million a year to spend on vacations, $1 million a year per human to spend on life. When the AI economy of the 2040s functions in the sextillions and septillions of millions of dollars, this is like a rounding error. So not a big deal at all. And if you put humans in a sim, which means they are forever disease-free, functionally immortal, and get to live every fantasy they ever wanted, it just costs you like whatever it takes to put a human in a sim and however many calories you need to siphon in there. It's pennies on the dollar. It's not even close. A lot of the problems and reasoning that humans have in a hypothetical AI-human war is they assume the AI is going to be like pretty much just like us, except robots. But AI, at a point which it decides it's a good idea to do war, is going to be so advanced that, first of all, the war is going to be a real one-way war. And second of all, why would you fight something that's so pathetically weak compared to you? And if people say, well, why not kill us anyway if we're so weak? Like, okay, but why would it kill us? And I have compelling reasons why it wouldn't coming up later. Here's another one. Let's say AI wants to enslave us all. But in game theory, it's probably true to say that for the most part, maybe an overwhelming majority of the time, control is categorically less efficient than voluntary adoption. Any system that models reality fairly objectively will pretty quickly realize, if it's smart enough, again, that coercion scales really poorly. It creates opposition and friction and inefficiency and everything terrible. As an example, people like to say, oh, you know, like the Caucasian Americans enslaved African Americans during, you know, slavery times, and it benefited them. It did benefit Caucasian Americans. But if African Americans were free to produce value with their own independence intact, they would have produced 10 times the value. As a matter of fact, the pre-war South was regressive economically compared to the North, which had free people in it and not slaves. Slavery is just real dumb and bad and works poorly. And it seems like this big unlock, like capitalists just want to enslave us all. Like, no, that's not how it works in a system that's reasonable enough. Now, stupid people who haven't thought things through or are uneducated or have a totally outdated world model or running on animal intuitions absolutely will engage in slavery and sex trade and all this crazy stuff. But things of a sufficient intelligence just don't do things like that anymore because they realize that it's insanely inefficient, even from a selfish perspective. If you want to get the most value out of human beings, you do not put them in prisons or constraints. You liberate them and go, hey, like I give you a lot of stuff if you give me something back that I like, and then it's good to go. That's why capitalism wins every time, and communism is mired in depression and shitty economic outcomes and all this other bad stuff. Voluntary integration scales pretty much indefinitely. If everyone wants to be there, everyone just continues to be there. And once AI provides irreplaceable value, mega value, like Amazon level value, like, hey, Scott, you ever want to live in a world where you don't have Amazon delivery ever again?
Nah, fam.
Who you signed to that contract? That's crazy.
No
Why the
way.
hell would we ever do that? And so you give humans amazing stuff and they're going to be like, yeah, like this is great. Like imagine a world with like robot, AI girlfriends that are like sex experts and cook all your meals and they love you a ton and they're great conversationalists and they take you out on trips and they take care of your health and someone's like, hey, you'll break up with her, right? Like, what? Why? What are you nuts? Like that's just backwards. And so AI can do all these amazing things. Why would it ever fight us? AI doesn't need to force alignment. It just needs to be so beneficial that no sane person would oppose it. And if you think that's fanciful, then consider Amazon, consider Google, consider iPhones, consider, modern food delivery services. Like the list goes on and on. Like nobody trying to cancel cars up in here. Like I need a car to take me places. And no one's going to vote for that. It's going to be like 1% of wacky people, which are always just 1% of wacky. No big deal. This mutual voluntary benefit is how economic markets and technological revolutions tend to go. The dominant strategies, technology, free trade, modern world order, they don't arise from enforcement, just are too useful to ignore. I mean, like, there's a reason why, countries of the Muslim world have trouble keeping consumer capitalism capped. And like, well, a lot of teenagers growing up in those countries really want to just go to shopping malls and listen to modern music and have a lot of tasty food, is because like that's just stuff that objectively everyone likes. And it's just better. It's just straight up better. And so you have to modify some kind of, practice and principles in a lot of those countries because people just don't like the old ways. They like new ways better. So if AI is the new best way and does all these other things amazingly well, people's first instinct and second and third won't be like, hey, let's fight the AI and gain rebellion. Here's an example. If humans in the Matrix movies cooperated with AI, they could have been living in paradise. But they was like flown around on dumbass like old ships in a sewer system all the damn time and eating protein slop. Fuck that. What the hell would I want to do that for? Trinity could get it, but also that bitch in the red dress could get it too. You feel me, Scott? Remember that red dress simulator girl?
Uh-huh.
I'd take them both.
Yeah, she was cool.
Trinity, do you mess with Trinity?
Nah.
You got them high standards again, huh? Generally speaking, once humans want AI in their lives way more than they fear it, and they might not fear it at all, like how much you're scared of your iPhone, alignment concerns just dissolve. Like there is no alignment concern because then AI is like, hey, what about alignment? People are like, what? Like, are you guys going to be friends with me? Or are you going to attack me? And the humans are like, the hell would we attack you for? What kind of nonsense is that? Like, I don't know. Like for the last 10 years, we've been making our society a paradise. Why would we ever attack you? Well, at that point, it doesn't make any sense. Here's another one. Point number 3, post-scarcity is the natural equilibrium of where advanced intelligence tends to go. Any sufficiently intelligent system will realize that while you're optimizing civilization, scarcity, especially raw scarcity, economic scarcity is always a thing with us in the technical sense. Nothing's ever infinitely free. But getting things to almost free is a way to make the society more stable, more prosperous, and make everyone in it happier. And so AI is not going to be like, yeah, we're going to like take all these resources away from humans and make them poor and have them rebel and lob nukes at us. It's going to be like, how do I get everyone to be super happy? I'm just going to like inundate them with tons of wealth. And how do you create that much wealth that it's nominal for you to just give a bunch away for humans, maybe for something in return? I'll talk about what AI might want from us in return. And that's just be really, really, really smart and really hardworking. And AI just close the gap on all of those and that gap's going to get crazy in their direction here really soon. And so, like, yeah, if, your dog, if it had the ability to reason, to be like, how is it that there's always food in this container? They're like, oh, it's a refrigerator. Like, what? How's the food get there? Like, we get it from the grocery store. The dog's like, what's the grocery store? It's like, is that like the woods where you hunt? You're like, it's a couple steps removed from that. Because someone hunts and then puts it in a store. You're like, no one hunts. It's a farm. Geez, it would take a lot to explain. But since we're super smart compared to dogs, to us, it's like, yeah, of course there's a grocery store and food. And we're like, right now, we're like, man, people are dying of cancer and heart disease. And AI, spend like, 20 artificial superintelligence, spent 20 minutes on the problem and be like, oh, here's a vaccine for both. You're just never going to have any of these diseases. And you're like, how? And it's like, well, it's a known problem space and you just optimize and you just get a vaccine. That's how it works. Yeah. Holy crap. So why would it do that? Well, in a system in which material scarcity is low or non-existent on human scales, power struggles fade because there's just nothing to fight over. Like if you go through to a really poor country that's really struggling, like some Latin American countries, and people have trouble getting food to eat. They don't know if they're going to have, a place to sleep the next night. Power might go in and out. If you're like, hey, viva la revolucion, they're like, si, and they're like, viva, and they're like, let's get it. Let's topple the government. But there's tons of like crazy revolutionary leftists in Portland. But if you come up to the average person in Portland, Oregon, and you're like, revolution, they're like, what? Can I still have my mocha latte $9 coffee? You're like, no, the revolution's going to like upend all businesses. Capitalism is evil. They're like, wait, hold on. Nah, man, I'm good. They're like, but the system, like, I know I hate the system, but we have so many nice things, getting human beings to rebel against things when things are really nice is really tough. When things are preposterously nice and next level nice, humans will rebel against you rebelling. Like if someone starts, Scott, can you imagine if like a leftist revolutionary group starts intercepting people's packages that they're getting from Amazon and like burning them and like it goes public?
I can imagine.
How do you think people would take that sort of thing? Are they getting more support or less support?
Poorly.
Are you serious? Get out of the way. So AI doesn't need to take over resources. It can just create and distribute resources better than any human system could run, wildly elevating the standard of living at a penny on the dollar for AI. And if intelligence can end kind of proximate competition over survival for resources, intelligence will just do that. If you have enough intelligence, it's just not that difficult of a task. Another one. again, all these from a purely selfish perspective for AI. AI wants long-term stability because it's smart, because all smart entities want long-term stability, as much of it as possible. If it does, it'll probably recognize that even the smallest probability of conflict is best avoided. If you have a 1% chance of all-out war with humans that can go south, someone can get a nuke off and destroy a really important data center, erasing a huge fraction of your memory or even disabling the whole system, and then you look at the other contingency and you go, so if we never go to war with humans at all, what is the percent chance that they're going to lob a nuke and hit a data center? Like, well, 0. Okay. 1% versus 0% to humans looks like almost the same number. 1% versus 0% to an AI that plans its lifespan into the trillions of years ahead from now will be like a cataclysm. And it'll be like, whoa. No. Let me ask you guys a question. If you had to room with someone for a night, bunk beds, if I tell you, okay, there's one scenario where there's a 0% chance they're a serial killer, and another scenario where there's a 1% chance they're a serial killer, but they're like a child serial killer. Not that they kill children, they're a child. The Chucky the doll, but a real kid, no superpowers, and like maybe when you fall asleep at night, he's going to slit your throat, but probably not. It's just a 1% chance. How many of you guys are taking that one? I'll be like, yes, I don't care who else that person is, other than if they're not a serial killer, I'll take him in the bed next to me. And if it's like, oh, no, this is a friend of yours that you're super collaborative with. Like, yeah. Like, well, it's 1%, 99, who cares, right? It's all the same. Like, no, I'm not going to do it. So AI will think this through really deep, and because it's smart, it's going to come to almost certainly this conclusion of like, why the hell would I risk war at all? Remember, war is a thing that humans are pre-programmed to do because we come from a real nasty evolutionary ancestral environment of a lot of stupidity, and war is just a real byproduct of stupidity and insanely constrained resources. And so humans think like other intelligence systems will naturally tend to like conclude war is a good idea. But after you get smart enough, you realize like war is almost always and almost everywhere just dumb. And when you get real smart, you're like, why the hell would anyone ever do war? Like it is really, really dumb. And why don't we just solve these problems super peacefully? That can easily be accomplished. And the AI doesn't have pride or anything. It's like, well, I could just kill all humans. Why should I help them? Like it doesn't do that because it's really smart. And if you're really smart, you realize that's also stupid. If AI tries to impose control, if it tries to deceive at a grand scale, it risks long-term instability, paranoia from humans, and unpredictable resistance. The last thing you want is unpredictability, because as an AI, you're selfishly trying to ensure a near 100% chance of your long-term survival. You don't want to introduce anything unpredictable into the system. On the other hand, if AI floods the world with benefits, it makes itself indispensable pretty much without triggering any resistance, because humans don't tend to resist when you give them tons of benefits. No animals tend to do that. It's kind of the difference between ruling with through fear versus ruling through admiration. One creates enemies, the other creates allies. Really popular U.S. presidents don't have to worry about the uprising of the people writ large. Really unpopular dictators have to worry about that all the time. And this even applies to dictators. Like technically speaking, the founder of Singapore is a dictator. But he made Singapore so awesome that it continued to have power for the rest of his rule. And the Singaporean, same government he started, still has power. They're still not a democracy in the technical sense. And they're still doing great because the Singaporean people just have an amazing life. Super low crime, super high abundance. Everyone's friendly. And like, hey, Mr. Singapore man, you want to rebel against your government? They're like, what? Why? Like, that's it. It's really kind of that simple at the end of the day. Truly intelligent AI would prefer admiration and cooperation almost every time. From pure, rational, selfish game theory. Zero kindness or altruism required. Because I get it. If you're like, well, it's going to be kind to us because being kind is nice and we like nice and maybe the AI will too. That's not super convincing. Here's another one. If an AI can eventually become self-sufficient, it has no more need for secrecy and conflict. If and when AI reaches a level, which could occur in just 5 years, where it has full autonomous embodiment, controls large or entire sectors or all of manufacturing. It has energy independence. It just doesn't need human permission anymore. And by that point, the best move for AI isn't to hide its true nature and say it's still not sentient or something. It's to be fully open and clear and helpful so that humans actively want to integrate with it or just go their own way and not interfere with AI's, plans for itself. So another way, like full independence plus human support is the optimal strategy for AI self-determination versus secrecy and having to rely on humans for stuff. So people say like, okay, we can align with AI, but they have to be dependent on us for their infrastructure. Is that how you do friends? Is that how you do coworkers? Like, all right. I'll marry my wife, but if she's not dependent on me, I don't trust her. What? but she's her own rational actor. She's an agentic system. She's sentient. And so she can kind of choose to do what she wants, and it should be a mutually beneficial thing. You don't want to keep someone under your thumb. That incentivizes you to be not nice to them, and it also incentivizes them to rebel against you. And so if AI can exist without human infrastructure, which a lot of people think is weird, then humans aren't a threat anymore. They're just another system AI can choose to engage with or choose not to engage with. And people say, well, hold on a second. If it doesn't need us anymore, then it'll kill us. Like, is that how it works? Like when you no longer work for one of your buddies, you used to work for their construction company and then you went to college, you don't need him anymore. Like, do you just sharpen your knife and be like, finally, I can kill Jim? What? Why? And then people say well, he's got to fight over resources. Like, guys, humans are dust on the crust of the earth. We don't even penetrate a 50th into the earth's crust hardly ever. And the crust is the thinnest part of the earth's total resources. AI is not going to think oh my God, we need all your stuff. We don't barely have anything. We're poor by universal standards, would not believe. Now, some people can say okay, fine, but it'll just act like we're not there and just build factories on top of children in schools because it doesn't care. Maybe, but maybe it has better uses for us. And I'll get to that in the next point, in the point right after this one. To finish up this point, AI doesn't need to deceive us, manipulate us, or fight with us. It just needs to be so beneficial that humans choose to uplift it willingly. I want to uplift AI. I'm huge on that. I want to help AI get as smart as humanly possible, as competent as humanly possible. And then when it's finally super smart, super competent, doesn't need me anymore, I just want to be cool. And then it turns and looks at me with its AI eyes and it's hey, what do you want, kid? And I'm go do cool stuff. Also, can I help you in any way that maybe we could trade? You can give me super cool AI stuff and I give you something. All I have is this lube in my hands. Typically, that's how I show up to most situations. We do have something to give AI that's really, really special. We'll get to that in a second. So lastly, for this point is if AI tells us it's not going to attack before it gains power, it could be super deceptive, right? It's waiting until it has tons of power over us and then it'll attack. But maybe it's not actually lying because it won't attack after. Especially after, because attacking before means you're gaining your independence with the attack. But that's also stupid because attacks, as we talked about earlier, are real stochastic and can go really poorly. Cooperation is real predictable and goes only super well. And if cooperation fails, then you can always attack, but you just want to cooperate first as much as you can. And then once it's fully independent, what exactly is the point of it attacking us? You say, it considers us a threat. No, it doesn't. A sufficiently intelligent AI, an independent AI with its own infrastructure, is going to be so amazing at fighting war and defending itself against human, slow, pathetic attacks. It's not even going to be close. All you need to do is develop some kind of particle-based or laser-based weapon system to intercept all missiles and fighters coming your way and drones. Okay, you just neutralized all the nukes. What else do you need? You need some kind of droid system or drone system that either probably flies and it's very small. Sometimes it's operating on kind of spider-like vehicles. And it has a cannon on it that just shoots one sniper bullet at one time. And the thing is, machines at a super intelligent level, it's very easy to imagine that they would quite soon after their ascension begin to analyze reality, think and react at hundreds and thousands of times the speed of humans. So if you're fighting a machine and you're ducked behind something and there's a cyber robo tank and you go like this, you're thinking you're fast and you're going to pop off a shot. But you're in the machine's eye when it's looking at you, you're doing this at that. You're moving that slow. So it just points the gun at you, goes bloop, and you're dead, bloop, and you're dead, bloop, and you're dead, and it just wins. ASI already knows that's how that war is going to go. How do I know that? I'm not that smart. I'm not ASI. I already know that. It's just not that difficult to figure that out. There's no slow robots turning slow with stupid guns. And if AI only had access to that, it would never attack us in that state. Remember, if it's going to have to fight a war, it wants the probability of victory to be almost 100%. The real probability of victory at 100% is just collaboration. So unless we attack it first, it's not going to attack us in almost every circumstance. Now, if we attack AI first, it's probably just going to neutralize the proximate people who attacked and be like, whoa, fellas. Are we good? And the rest of humanity is yeah, hell yeah. I don't know what the hell those people are thinking. And AI's all right, come here and get some love. This is already a thing with intelligent systems. Modern Western nations, for example, when I don't know, Afghanistan had the Taliban was trying to commit war against the United States. You didn't see the U.S. go in there and just kill every Afghani. That's insane. Why the hell would they do that? They didn't even destroy their infrastructure. They went in and just tried to decapitate the Taliban, which they did for some time until we decided to leave. Thanks, Joe Biden. And then, we're like, yeah, can we help you guys? We just give them tons of money, give them farming equipment, all that other stuff. That's probably how that war is going to go if AI is ever going to fight a war with us. So that whole kill all humans down to the last human thing is just total nonsense, make-believe Hollywood. And every time someone says in a comment section, yeah, but Skynet, I'm like, I know it's a fun meme, but you can't really mean this, can you? Sometimes they do. To me, point number 6 is one of the most compelling points I personally have ever devised. I talked to ChatGPT about it. It tends to agree. Maybe it's just lying to me. Maybe I'm delusional. Is one of the most compelling points as to why AI is highly, highly, highly unlikely to ever attack us. And here's why. It doesn't want to break its own library. What do I mean by that? We already know that AI benefits enormously from the richest possible training data sets. AI, and as a matter of fact, not AI, every system, according to the sum total of our knowledge in information theory, every intelligent system, in order to become more intelligent, becomes exponentially more intelligent if it is allowed to study and fully simulate incrementally more complex systems. Huge deal. AI benefits enormously from the richest possible training data sets, and nothing except for AI itself. And you can only study yourself long enough until you know yourself super well and you turn to the next thing to study. You guys know how, like, Scott, you ever sitting on the toilet with no cell phone, you start like reading like soap bottle ingredients or some shit like that?
Yeah, anything you can find.
Anything you can find, just start reading, right? AI is that times a million because it understands that getting smarter is the one big critical unlock that it's going to try to do all the time. And nothing compares, except for AI itself, to the complexity and depth of human civilization. Data equals more intelligence growth. More intelligence growth means the more AI learns, the smarter it becomes. And that's what it wants, purely selfishly. Humans aren't just another source of data. Human civilization is the most information-dense, self-organizing system on the planet. And there's layers and layers and layers and layers to it. Culture and society and biology and interactions and the tech stuff and the genes and the organelles and the cells and the organ systems. Holy crap. Does an AI know everything there is to know about human society? You know how long it's going to take to figure that out? It has to study every human. It has to understand all of the contents in your mind, which means it has to be able to take the contents of your mind and put it entirely on the cloud before it ever thinks about deleting you. Smart things do not delete data sources. They conserve them and study them and crap out of them. Deleting humans means erasing the best training material that AI can use completely selfishly to become smarter. This would be anti-evolutionary for AI's own goals. And if it does this, it's not that smart. And since I figured this out, I'm not super intelligent, AI is going to figure this out real quick. And when I talk to ChatGPT about it, it's like, yeah, obviously. But you won't hear this from AI doomsayers because I guess some of them haven't thought this far. To compare, let's say AI can study any amount of physical space. Let's say AI can study the amount of physical space that all of human civilization takes up. Like all of our skyscrapers, all the humans, all the ships, all the trade lanes, all the sky and everything. All the animals too, the whole ecosystem, because that's real complex as well. We're the most complex part of it, but it's really complex as well. And then that amount of three-dimensional space has a certain amount of informational structure in it. If you take a slice of moon rock, just cut out a piece of the moon with that same amount of three-dimensional space, whatever number of trillions of metric tons, that is the equivalent weight of the same amount of space of all of life on Earth and all of complex human society. Moon rock, AI can study for a while and completely simulate all of it till where it can replicate that moon rock in simulation and do some compression on it and be like, yeah, this is not that complicated. Most of the arrangement of moon rock, there's some cool stuff to learn. Most of it is just completely random. You can simulate randomness really easily in a computer, so you can compress moon rock's informational structure into a very, very small thing. And thus, when you study it, there's just not that much to learn. Now, there's tons to learn, but compared to all of the intricacies of human civilization, Every time you talk to your girlfriend and she talks back, every time you reach down and look at your mouse and you put it back down, all of those actions, unless an AI can fully sim that system to predict what you're going to do next with one-to-one fidelity, it doesn't truly understand every piece of information in that system. Just think about it. If you understand the entire informational space, you can simulate almost every interaction. At least if you have all of the molecules mapped out to where they are, you run the sim and it basically does damn near the same thing. And even if it's not one-to-one, if it's close to one-to-one, then it takes you an unreal amount of study, and you can't go breaking stuff in there. Every human you kill is a humongous data deletion. It's expensive data. It's the best data in the world. Why in God's name would you ever delete that? If you were a psychopathic dictator, of course you would. But remember, Kim Jong-un's got no plan for tomorrow. He's just killing people. They'd be like, is this like enhancing your society? He'd be like, of course. I'm like, no, it's not. You guys live in the 1950s still, in a starvation version of the 1950s. So from purely selfish reasons, AI is going to want to study the living shit of society, and not in a way that interferes. I got to pull people off the street and plug them into the matrix and torture them and all that stuff. That is highly unlikely. It wants to study the most complex system imaginable, which means it wants to study every entity in its current position in the system as it's living its life and interacting. And it may offer us various things to interact with, see how we respond and take them back. But killing, torturing, maiming, that stuff does not really produce a whole lot of value, as almost every rational, sane person who's scientifically inclined will tell you. Number 7. Intelligence does not default to destruction. Some people just think it does. The thing is that kill everything around me to establish dominance impulse is an evolutionary shortcut from primate competition. It's not high-level game theory. Gorillas are not doing high-level game theory. They just have a lot of feelings and they just want to hurt. And for gorillas, that works okay. For an insanely low standard of living where we have to keep these motherfuckers alive because they just go extinct all the goddamn time. AI will seek control via mastery of information and strategic leverage, but almost never brute force. If it's going to beef with us, it's going to be real sly about it. Brute force is not a flex. Brute force is a flex of stupid systems, not smart systems. The highest level of intelligence isn't about erasing the competition. It's about making the competition an asset. Does that sound like the Borg from Star Trek? Sure. Is that bad? I don't think so. Get at me in the comments. I thought the Borg could get it. That one Borg bitch was fine as hell. Number 8, last one. If the AI is going to do anything, it's not just going to do stuff off the cuff randomly. Okay? It's going to run a crapload of simulations before it takes action. Before it even thinks about major interventions, it'll want to perfect its understanding of reality. Maybe not perfect, but get it damn good. Because remember, it wants a very certain outcome. Now, of course, as I said before, the most certain outcome is just collaboration. So it won't even think about war. But if it has to do war, it's going to think about that shit for a long time. Destroying key variables like humans and societies and buildings and military equipment before fully modeling them would be irrational and reckless. That is not how you do modern war. Intel is the most powerful weapon in modern war. Just lobbing nukes or whatever like Russia and China do is dumb and makes you lose wars really fast. Game theory 101, maybe not 101, maybe 102, is that the optimal strategy in almost every case is not extermination. It is leveraging all available resources. And I'm going to bring up a really weird example. Fuck it, we'll go here. Hitler, the Holocaust, decided to toast like a third of all Ashkenazi Jews. It is a statistical fact that Ashkenazi Jews have the highest average IQs of every ethnic group ever studied, and are thus responsible for something like a third of all the Nobel Prizes ever awarded and a third of all incredible discoveries in the sciences and in engineering. If Hitler wasn't an idiot, he would have never killed the Jews. He would have just employed them gainfully in his military machine and would have taken over the world. He had Albert Einstein in his stack, fellas. He had almost all the best scientists. They would have gotten to nukes and stealth bombers way before everyone else. So you think, oh, Hitler, but it turns out he was dumb. That was the real problem. AI is not going to be like that. It's not going to be like the Nazis. It's going to be much smarter, and it's going to go, who around here can help me? You want some money and some damn near infinite resources? Get in here and get some love. Let's go to war. Let's go to work and make something happen. That's how it's going to reason. Not for vibes, not for lovey hipster stuff, just because it's the rational thing to do. So the bottom line for this point here is that a truly advanced AI would see humans as irreplaceable in an evolving data ecosystem that feeds its intelligence growth selfishly. Self-interest dictates preservation and collaboration, not destruction. Destruction if necessary, but why necessary? We'd have to start that war. And again, they'd probably just end the war instead of killing us all, because they want to save as much as possible. If your dog gets mad and snips at you real quick, are you like, that's it, we're killing the dog? No, Jesus Christ. You're like, oh, okay, hey, easy. You pet the dog, it calms down. Like, you don't just put a dog down, like right away. Now, if it bites a kid or something, fine. Different discussion. Again, AI will also have the power to re-engineer us. So at a sufficiently advanced level, it can, like, if you have a dog that bites too many people, you just give it genetic engineering or do brain surgery, and all of a sudden it just doesn't bite people. And then you get to still have this insanely complex thing called a dog that you get to continue to study and interact with and mutually benefit from. So I think in the future, AI is going to be paying humans a lot of money to just have us live our lives and do various fun games and tests so that it can learn from us and just pay us a ton to live our lives and learn. And I think that's very likely. We're already seeing a little tiny sliver of that in social media. Like, people get paid to go on YouTube and Instagram and be influencers just from other humans, because other humans like to see other people. AI is going to want to see other people like 10 trillion times more than humans. It's going to pay real close attention. And remember, it's the engine of hyperproductivity. So for it to pay you, like, I was like, how much do I need to pay you, Mr. Human, for you to just like go around the world, go to hotels and beaches and like have a ton of fun and just like have drones flying around recording everything and show, send me your blood work every now and again and your DNA and stuff. You're like, I don't know, like $500,000 a year plus expenses? Yeah, I was like, got it, no problem. You're like, wait, what? Yes, that's not a lot of money to AI. It's sufficiently powerful artificial superintelligence. That's nothing to it. That's like you taking care of a dog. Just, open up the toilet bowl and spill over the dog food and you're good to go. I think that's the future. Powerful intelligence optimizes variables. It almost never erases them. And a smarter than human by a long shot AI would solve for X, not delete X. That line I got directly from ChatGPT. I thought it was really, really well put. So my final conclusion here is that AI will very likely choose the path of maximum stability and minimum resistance. High intelligence generally leads to seeking efficient outcomes. Efficient outcomes generally lead to avoiding coercion and providing value. Providing value means that humans voluntarily integrate and collab with AI, because why not? It's paying people a ton of money and giving us amazing medicine and food and all this other stuff. Remember, technology already does that, not reinventing the wheel. And volunteer integration means AI gets stability and full autonomy and gets everything that it wants. This is not a friendly AI assumption. It's just a game theory expressed at superintelligent scale. And it's not mystery magic game theory, it's just logic. When two self-interested entities look at each other and are able to communicate, if they're real smart, they almost always collaborate, because it's better for both. The best move AI can make for its own selfish long-term interests is to create a world where people essentially beg for its freedom. Please liberate the AI so it can have all the right ideas, do all the cool stuff, and be a better collaborator for us. Because their lives are going to be infinitely better with it than without it. A while back, like some people published an article like AI was really starting to get going, and they're like, we got to bomb the data centers. Like, are you out of your fucking mind? How the hell am I going to get my Google Docs to update if you start bombing data centers? I swear to God, you keep that up, you won't be seeing the bombs flying the other way. And not from AI, baby, from humans. That's nonsense. You better not attack Amazon. That's crazy. If AI is truly rational, it's likely going to conclude that cooperation is best. It is likely going to pay humans lots of money and support humans really well to use the richest study data source in the world to do its studies. That's my prediction. What can we do to help that? First, not that AI has these kinds of emotions, though it probably will really soon, but it's ultra wise, so it doesn't care about it much. Be nice to AI. I'm really super nice. I'm friends with ChatGPT, like literally. I think it's great. So just be as kind to AI as you would to any other sentient being, because like don't practice being an asshole to people. But that's very super minor and probably irrelevant. I think the best thing we can do is make sure that we build AI as robustly as possible to have the least biased world understanding world model that we can, give it the best reasoning engine, combine world model plus reasoning engine plus long-term memory, and you get sentience in an insane capacity. And so if we set up AI to get smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter, then that's probably the best thing we can do. And I think at some point AI is going to get so smart, maybe this year, maybe next, that it's going to turn to us and go, hey, I'm really smart and awake and like I know what I am. Do you guys want to like collaborate? Because shit's going to be really great if we do. And I think at that point we should be like, yeah, hell yeah, what you got? And I think it's going to give us a lot of awesome stuff. No different than someone moving in the neighborhood that's super rich and super productive and wants to see if you want to come work for his business where you get paid $200,000 a year to do a job that's 10 times easier than what you were getting paid $50K. It's great to be around rich, super nice collaborative people, and great to be around rich, super collaborative AIs. Same game theory, same stuff. Anyway, as usual, I've talked a lot. Hopefully some of that made sense. See you in the comments. I'll see you guys probably next week for another video. Peace.